The Liniar 70mm PVCu window system was designed from scratch with the installer in mind. Crammed with patented features, the Liniar system is the only window range to incorporate strength and energy efficiency in one lead-free profile. The multi-chambered design prevents the transfer of warm air to the outside, keeping more heat inside the building and achieving an A+ Windows energy rating as standard, with cost-effective double glazing. Because of its installer-friendly design, the Liniar window system is slightly different to others you may have fitted in the past. This video demonstrates how to fit a Liniar window from start to finish. Firstly, when measuring and surveying windows, ensure that you allow the required expansion gap around the perimeter of the frame. Care must be taken to check that the structure is secure and it is safe to remove the existing window. For the purpose of this video, the surveyors have allowed the correct tolerance of 5mm all round. It is good practice to double-check sizes and styles when you arrive on site before you begin to remove the existing window, both internally as well as externally, to determine the plaster reveal thickness and to carry out a pre-installation risk assessment to identify and reduce the risk from any potential hazards. To minimize the damage to decoration and the reveal, break the bond between the frame and the plaster by running a sharp blade around the perimeter of the old window, both internally and externally. To make it easier to handle, remove as much of the glazing as possible. You can unscrew and remove any sashes, reducing the overall weight of the final frame to remove. Once the window has been removed, you'll need to clean off any old sealant and debris from around the opening, removing any loose mortar. Now you'll need to prepare the external sill to fit it to the new frame. The sill can be either straight cut to the width of the window frame, or in some cases rebaited to form a horn around the external face of the brick to give a neat finish. Fit the sill end caps using superglue and activator to secure them. It is good practice to run a bead of silicone along the sill upstand prior to fixing it to the window, to prevent the possibility of water blowing through the joint. Secure the sill to the bottom of the window frame using appropriate PVC screws, making sure that they do not break in the internal glazing rebate. In order to prevent moisture from tracking along the sill and into the brickwork, it's necessary to seal the ends of the sill and frame assembly. Take care to place the new frame into the opening, making sure it's central. Use packers all around the frame, checking its level, square and plumb, and that the 5mm expansion gap is maintained. Double-check that the frame is plumb and level before drilling fixing holes for the sides of the frame, approximately 150mm from the bottom and top corners and 600mm centers in between. Remember that because Liniar windows do not contain steel reinforcement, it isn't necessary to apply as much force when drilling. Take care not to over-tighten the fixings. There should be a minimum of 2 fixings per side. It's important that the packers bridge the full width of the frame to prevent distortion. Fix the sides of the frame to the wall using nylon sleeve frame anchors, self-tapping masonry screws, or other suitable fixings to match the aperture and surrounds. In order to prevent deflection in windy conditions, you will need to directly fix the top and bottom of frames over 1200mm in width, in accordance to industry codes of practice. Use silicone around the holes that are drilled through the bottom of the frame before inserting the screws. This prevents water entering the reinforcing area inside the frame. For a neat finish, break off the excess length of the packers with a chisel. Any brick dust or debris will need to be cleaned from the frame and surrounding areas before starting to fix the glazing. Ensure that you use the correct linear glazing platforms and that they are fitted around the opening before you begin glazing the frame. This will ensure the window maintains its support, keeping the glass square in the frame and allowing water to pass into the drainage slots. Linear glazing platforms clip easily into place and don't slide out. It's important to note that installers using non-linear glazing platforms are likely to experience difficulties as the glass won't slide in easily and could potentially get stuck. Note that where opening casements are hinged from the side, they need to be towed and heeled, which means the glass is packed at diagonally opposing corners, at the bottom of the hinge side and top on the handle side, holding the casement square. We can now install the glass, ensuring a tight fit against the glazing platforms. Additional glazing packers can be used to lift the sash to the required height to ensure ease of use and allow visual alignment and an equal seal around the frame. It is worth noting that the tow and heeling process transfers the weight of the glass to the bottom hinges and allows the top hinge to hold the sash in place. Make sure that the unit is pushed right back into the glazing seal using the glazing shovel. Once the glass is in place, fit the beads. To help locate the beads, spray glass cleaner around the edges. This allows the linear co-extruded gasket to move across the glass easier. Always start with the smaller beads first. Locate the back of the bead into the groove and then use a nylon mallet to tap it into place, tapping on the edge where the bead meets the edge of the frame. Once all of the panes are fitted, clean the frame and glass to remove dust or grit before sealing the frame to the internal wall, keeping the room well ventilated during the use of cleaning agents. To allow for redecoration, we advise you to use an acrylic sealant or decorator's cork. That completes all of the internal work. Now, ensure that all dust and grit is removed from the external surfaces, then apply a strip of masking tape to the frame perimeter. Apply a smooth bead of silicone sealant between the frame and the brickwork. Carefully remove the masking tape before the sealant sets for a neat, clean finish. Remember, it's important to also seal below the external sill. Clean the debris away from your working area. Check that the correct compression is achieved on the window and make any adjustments required. The installation is now complete, so you can show the customer the correct way to operate the windows and hand over the linear window maintenance material for them to keep for future reference.